Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier Injuries Daily Update. There is light on the horizon. The international break is almost over, and domestic action is back. Game week 9 arrives this weekend, with the North London derby being the early kickoff on Saturday. But I'm going to start things today with my home club, Newcastle United. The Black and Whites went into this international break with problems, and the break hasn't been any kinder to them. We've heard that Chris Wood suffered a setback, took a bang to the ribs playing for New Zealand in a friendly against Australia. He felt a pop, felt pain when he was breathing, and was forced off during the first half of that game. Now, ordinarily, that wouldn't be a massive issue, but Alexander Isak, we know, was released from the Swedish squad last week due to a muscular problem. That potentially, I'm hearing, could be a few weeks on the sidelines. We do know that Callum Wilson won't be far away. In fact, I do expect him to be included in the matchday squad at Fulham this weekend. However, given his injury problems this season, he will be a player that needs to be managed and held in kid gloves. So it remains to be seen what Eddie Howe can do this weekend. It doesn't sound great for Chris Wood, of course. That's just happened, so it needs to be assessed fully. Elsewhere within that Newcastle camp, we also know that Alan Saint-Maximin suffered a slight setback in his recovery from a hamstring problem. So that brings his participation down at Craven Cottage as a 50-50 call. I would probably again look to err on the side of caution with that one, given the fact that it's a hamstring issue. And it could be game week 10 when we see the Frenchman back in action. Even if he does make the matchday squad, any minutes are likely to come from the bench. The one bit of good news, we're hoping we see Bruno Guimaraes back on Tyneside. He picked up an injury last week while training with Brazil. He was released from the national squad. He's back on Tyneside. He was working individually in the gym on Monday morning. And like I say, with a view to being ready for that Fulham match. Elsewhere, moving on, Liverpool. Bit of good news for Liverpool on two fronts. Firstly, the Egyptian FA confirmed that Mo Salah has been released from their squad nice and early. Scored twice against Niger on Friday in that friendly. They did have a game against Liberia coming up, but they've released him, so he's going to return back to Liverpool a little bit sooner than expected. And also, Trent Alexander-Arnold is not included in the 23-man squad submitted via the FIFA website against Germany on Tuesday. So again, he's a player that will be back at Liverpool a little bit earlier than expected. For Arsenal, a few updates here. Martin Odegaard, there were concerns with regards to his calf problem. He did feature in their last game, and he also remained with the squad. He will potentially took to Instagram saying that he is in a place to be eligible for a start. Feels absolutely fine, so there's certainly no after effects from that game after recovering from injury. And of course, they come up against Serbia. We will touch upon Mitrovic in a couple of minutes. However, elsewhere within that Arsenal squad, a few question marks here. Thomas Partey, he was named an initial Black Stars lineup to face Brazil last week. However, just minutes before kickoff, complained of a knee issue. Now, the Ghana FA released a statement saying that it was a precautionary measure. He has returned to London Colney. He will be assessed, but I'm told that he does stand a good chance of featuring in that North London derby. Of course, he's just returned to the squad following that thigh problem. Tomiyasu played 90 minutes for Japan in a 2-0 win over the USA. Then the Japanese social media channel confirmed that Tomiyasu would be released from the squad. Now, like I say, there was nothing from that match to suggest that he had picked up a problem. And indeed, the Japan FA have confirmed that it was a club circumstances as the reasons as to why he's been released. Now, again, that could be just related to his lack of minutes and the fact that the Japan squad is another friendly, so they want to protect the player on behalf of the club, which would be great to see. And one more from the Arsenal camp, Kieran Tierney took a whack to the head against Republic of Ireland on Saturday evening, replaced as a precautionary measure. He was subsequently assessed post-match and released from that Scotland squad. Now, the Scotland playing Ukraine in that Nations League decider, so it is a competitive match. So the fact that he has been released maybe is a slight indication that the injury is a little bit more severe than initially thought. Certainly that whack to the head, it could be that he may be following concussion protocol. But just to reiterate that if he does come through those various stages of that concussion protocol symptom-free, then he will be okay for that North London derby. Elsewhere within that Arsenal squad, Zinchenko, who didn't feature during the international break because of his own calf issue, suggesting that he will be okay for that as well. So that left-back berth should be covered by one or potentially both this weekend, that early kickoff. For Nottingham Forest, Steve Cooper sweating on the fitness of ever-present Scott McKenna. He's come through both games for Scotland without any evident problems, but the Scottish FA released an update saying that the defender has suffered a knee problem. There was one or two issues in that Forest backline if McKenna was to miss out. Niakiti could be somebody who would deputise, but we know he's been sidelined recently through that own hamstring problem. So, at best, he's going to be lacking a lot of match fitness. I touched upon a knock for Mitrovic before. He scored a hat-trick for Serbia, but was then forced off in around about that 72nd minute. So there were worries that he may have picked up quite a serious problem, seen limping heavily after the game. Fortunately, that doesn't look to be the case, and he's part of that travelling squad that will face Norway. Now, it remains to be seen whether he does feature or not, but what we can glean from that, certainly the injury is not too serious. If it had he would have been released straight away and sent back to Fulham for further assessment. So even if he doesn't feature for Serbia, he's going to be there or thereabouts. Ivan Perisic picked up a knock in that first game for Croatia. He come through 90 minutes against Austria. Absolutely fine. No issues there. Wilfred Ndidi, the Leicester midfielder, was released from national team duty after picking up a hamstring problem in training. There is hope that he will be okay for game week 9 after imaging. An MRI scan confirmed that it is a grade 1 hamstring tear. Now, again, there is no guarantees with this. It looks to be on the shorter side, or with that less severity of the problem, somewhere maybe within 7 to 10 days, potentially return to play. Brendan Rodgers does need him. Leicester really struggling at the moment, but if it's going to be a close call, then that could be made very near a kickoff, because these are always worrying hamstring problems, high re-injury, high recurrence rates, and you don't want to exacerbate that problem to potentially put him out for weeks or even months. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's fine after taking a heavy blow to the face, collided with Czech goalkeeper, which caused a nosebleed and a cut and a black eye. He's confirmed on social media that he's okay. He did complete 90 minutes of that match, and he has trained as normal with his Portuguese teammates. And finally, concerns from Mexico in the homeland that Raul Jimenez, rumours suggesting that he may be a doubt for the World Cup. Now, this is a strange one, because initially, back in early September, when this problem arose, Bruno Lage said that initially that the issue after being named in that starting lineup and then subsequently withdrawn was due to chronic fatigue. It later transpired that it was an adductor or groin issue, similar to the one that he had suffered during pre-season. And this was brought about by playing that third game in the space of a week in which he was due to start. So Bruno Lage said he was going to take him out the firing line and just ease him back in. Now, he went back to do some rehabbing with his Mexican international teammates, and with discussions with regards to the manager, there has been some talk that there are concerns that he may not be fit for Qatar. Now, national team boss Gerard Martino remains optimistic, and there is some talk that they may request Wolves that Raul Jimenez is released early ahead of that World Cup in Qatar to do some further rehab and recovery work with the national team. So that remains to be seen. So it's maybe not that short-term turnaround that Wolves were certainly hopeful of. Again, in terms of those attacking prowess, they're certainly lacking at this moment in time. Diego Costa still working his way back up to full fitness. The unfortunate thing with the signing of him, he hasn't played competitively since the back end of 2021, and the pressure's really on for him to come in and hit that ground running. So that's it for now in terms of those international injury roundup. If there are any more key talking points, rest assured, we will cover them. Any questions, by all means, hit me up on social media at Ben Dinnery. If you like these updates and you're not subscribing, please do so and pop us a like, because the more subscribers we have, the more people who follow, the more resource we can allocate to providing these videos. So that's it for now. See you all again very soon.